Guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Last Summer Wine 50th anniversary. So, Last Summer Wine came out on this day way back in 1973. The first ever episode aired on the 4th of January 1973, which makes it 50 years old this year. And I'm going to be talking about Last Summer Wine 50 years on. And so, yeah, that's the title of the video, as you probably would have guessed. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe, and yeah, let's get into the main video. So, Last Summer Wine is 50 years old, because on this day, way back in 1973, the pilot aired on Comedy Playhouse, which was a thing that they used to do to test shows, see whether they worked and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's how we got Porridge, I believe, as well as Open All Hours, which is written by the same writer as this comedy. As you can see that I'm wearing the hat that was famously worn by Clegg in Last Summer Wine and First Summer Wine. Yeah, so very good thing I decided to go with that. And yeah, let's get into the main video. So, Last Summer Wine was a British sitcom that aired between 1973, as I've already mentioned, all the way up until 2010, and lasted for 37 years. 37 years, that is a very long time. And guess what else? 295 episodes. Amazing. I've seen practically all of them. And yeah, we're talking about a few of the iconic moments that I like. And yeah, so let's get into the video. So we're going to start off by talking about some of the characters. So, the main three that the general public will definitely know is Compo, Clegg, and Foggy, who are obviously the main protagonists of Last Summer Wine in kind of the early years, even though there was an original third man that some people forget exists, but his name was Cyril Blamemeyer, played by Michael Bates, and Blamemeyer was a bit kind of, I don't really know how to describe Cyril Blamemeyer, but he was a bit kind of up himself in lots of ways. He was also a bit arrogant sometimes. Also a bit, he had quite a few arguments and a bit of banter, as we'll probably refer to soon now, with Compo, and I really kind of like that dynamic as well, because he's really right wing, and he's really left wing, and it's really kind of balance between each other. But they do make a really good friendship, so it's clear that opposites do attract. So yeah, so that's a very cool kind of dynamic they have. And then Clegg is like the glue in the middle between all of the trios throughout all of the 37 years, because Clegg is brilliant. He's played by Peter Sallis. And Peter Sallis was an absolutely amazing actor. You may have heard of him from Wallace and Gromit. He was the voice of Wallace. He unfortunately passed away about 6 years ago now, I believe. But very sad. But he was an absolute legend, and he made the show. He was part of the show from the beginning. He appears in all 295 episodes. He is the iconic character that everyone remembers. They remember Clegg, as well as Compo, who we're going to talk about a bit later. But Clegg, I really felt like his character was needed, because when you had someone like Blamemeyer, who's a bit, up himself, thinks he's the leader of everything, you know what I mean? And then you have Compo, who's a bit, he's a bit poor, and he's a bit kind of rough and all that kind of stuff. And you kind of had them to the polar opposites, and then you have Clegg, who's kind of like a go-between, and he's there. I really feel like that friendship really worked during the first two series. Series 1 and 2 are very different compared to the whole of Last Summer Wine. I feel like Series 3 is when it starts picking up the pace and it becomes more, I don't know, I wouldn't say better, but there's more comedy elements, I feel like, that work a lot better, and the characters change slightly, but yeah. So that's really great. I do like their relationship during Series 1 and 2, and Series 1 and 2 is absolutely amazing. Honestly, guys, check it out, or get this box set, really, because it's amazing. First 10 series all in one big pack. Lovely. So I really love their relationship with the original trio. I think they're great. I think I'm going to rank all the trios eventually as part of the anniversary, so stay tuned for that. Or something else I would really like to talk about is Compo. Now, Compo Simonite, or his actual name's William, but we never really hear that until he dies, obviously. But yeah, so Compo is played by he's played by Bill Owen, who unfortunately passed away in 1999. That's very sad. All of the actors in the show have unfortunately passed away, most of them anyway, which I think is really sad. But yeah. So Compo was kind of the scruffy character, as I mentioned. He was a bit kind of rough around the edges. He liked to get into kind of fights. He smoked tons of cigarettes. As I quote from Foggy Dewhurst, he had lungs like tangled bootlaces. That's from an episode. So yeah, I really do like how Compo's really portrayed brilliantly. Bill Owen is amazing because that's not even his original accent. His original accent is way posher than that. He's from London. He had a really posh London accent. But the thing is, in this, he puts on a completely Yorkshire accent, and you wouldn't tell the difference, even if you were from blooming Yorkshire. But it's absolutely amazing how he can act like this, because the other two, they were just using their normal voices, really. And he was just doing that amazingly. Brilliantly portrayed. Lovely character, brilliant. I do like how he loves Nora Batty, and he's kind of got that kind of lust for Nora Batty. He wants to be around Nora Batty. He's good mates with her husband, Wally. I really like that dynamic. Really great. Even though Wally only comes in series 2 and then later develops until he unfortunately dies. Rather sad. But yeah, so that's kind of the main trio as I was talking about for the first 2 series. Moving on to the character I mentioned just a minute ago, Foggy Dewhurst. He's the best character, in my opinion. He is my all-time favourite character. And he appears in, like, I can't remember how many series it is exactly, but he does appear in 117 episodes. So Foggy Dewhurst is an absolute legend, played by Brian Wilde, who appeared in 117 episodes. Amazingly, he does this amazingly. He was part of the show between 1976 and 1985, and then he left, and then came back 5 years later in 1990, and then left in 1997 during the Christmas special, There Goes the Groom. So he was there for a very long time, a very long time, and he is what you see on all the branding like this, or you know, let me just show you another DVD cover, or this. You know what I mean? He's kind of, he's there, you know. So I really do love, he is in a lot of episodes. He's the longest serving third man, and he does a brilliant job. So, Foggy Dewhurst was played by Brian Wilde, and Brian Wilde gives his all in the show. It's a shame that he had to leave during 1997 because he unfortunately developed shingles, and so he got a bit poorly, and so they replaced him with another character. The character in name question was Truly of the Yard, and Truly was a brilliant character played by Frank Thornton. Frank Thornton was absolutely amazing. He absolutely nailed it. But before, when I was mentioning earlier, when Foggy originally left, he was replaced with Michael Aldridge, as you can see here. He played Seymour Uthwaite, and Seymour Uthwaite was an amazing character. I know he's my dad's personal favourite character, so shout out to you, Dad. Yeah, I'm mentioning your favourite character. He's absolutely amazing in it. He only appears in 4 series, but it feels like more, to be fair. He really does an amazing job with the character he's kind of given, and he kind of plays this like old head teacher, so we kind of get all that kind of stuff. I really think that he does express it really well, and he does an absolutely amazing job. Absolutely nails it in the role, kills it. Amazing. It's a shame we didn't see any more of Seymour. We didn't see more of any Seymour. That was supposed to be a joke, but yeah. So yeah, it was brilliant having Seymour in there, played by Michael Aldridge. Aldridge, I think it is. Yeah, he does a brilliant job, and I really do like his character. Moving back on to Frank Thornton. Frank Thornton was in the show for a long time, between 1997 and 2010, so he was there for quite a long time. I know, I believe Foggy was there for 16 or 17 years, something like that, and he was there for like 13, 14 or something around that anyway. He does an amazing job, and he's part of one of my favourite groups of characters, where you have Clegg and Truly, and then you also have the kind of double gangers, as they're kind of like a double take, kind of one way out of the other, and that is of course the group of Tom and Billy. Tom and Billy were two characters introduced after they unfortunately lost Compo. He unfortunately died, and so during filming they invited his son Tom Owen, which I did a video tributing a video to Tom Owen on my channel if you want to check that out. But Tom and Billy had a really great partnership, and I felt like during this series, particularly series 23 and 24, they were really well done with each other. A very good kind of friendship, and them two characters, Billy Hardcastle believed that he was a direct descendant of Robin Hood, which is completely ridiculous, but so worked for the story. And I've got to say that Billy Hardcastle, played by the lovely actor Keith Clifford, best known from Coronation Street, he was absolutely amazing, and I really kind of, when he left, you felt a gap in the show, because some people say the show wasn't as funny after 2006 or 2007. I kind of disagree, but yeah, it does feel like there's a void as soon as you lost Keith Clifford. So very sad when we did lose him from the show. But Tom Owen was absolutely amazing. Killed it in the role as Thomas Simonite. I really do like his relationship also with Smiler. That was very good. I liked the dynamic between them two, which I thought was absolutely amazing. So that was brilliant. I also like how the kind of the four dynamic, because you have Clegg, Truly, and then you obviously have Tom and Billy, and they really work together. And then over a while, Tom moves out. He gets a job at working at Auntie Wainwright's, and she's a brilliant kind of evil kind of character. And yeah, so I really like the relationship there. But Tom gets replaced with Alvin, who moves into his house, so we get that kind of dynamic. And Alvin and Billy are kind of like Tom was really kind of using like the old stuff really, but really good, and I really do like the dynamic when they're with Clegg and Truly. Moving on to the last bit, they introduced a brand new trio for the last three series, series 30, series 31, and series 32, because series 32 does exist. Google and Wikipedia, I think, are incorrect or something, but there are definitely 32 series in Last Summer Wine's history, and I'm right. But yeah, so they're in for the last three series, and I really do like the relationship between them two. Well, them three. So we have Entwistle, Alvin, and then you have Hobbo, and their relationship's really good. You kind of get to see the kind of comedy elements between them two. And obviously Entwistle's Chinese, but he claims to be a proper Yorkshireman and that, all kind of stuff like that, which I think's quite funny as well. So that gets a few laughs. Brilliant, love them three, but it just didn't beat the same feel as the original, because they kind of, Clegg and Truly a bit sidelined. They get kind of one gag at the beginning of the episode or one gag at the end of the episode. Didn't really feel right. And then in 2010, they unfortunately cancelled Last Summer Wine, which I thought was very sad. But things are not to be, they're not to be. But as I can say, Last Summer Wine is my all-time favourite sitcom, one of the all-time best sitcoms ever made. Roy Clark, you were an absolute legend. I'd love to meet you one day, mate, because absolutely amazing. And in Last Summer Wine, they helped rejuvenate the area of where it was filmed, Holmfirth, because they had all the mills and they all closed down. I heard about this in the documentary. They all closed down, and unfortunately they were left kind of bankrupt with nothing to do. And then when Last Summer Wine came, it rejuvenated the village, gave it more money and everything like that. They even got tourist attractions. Compo's Chippy, I believe, exists. All stuff like that really helped rejuvenate that area of Holmfirth. And yeah, I really think that Last Summer Wine is brilliant. Of course, it may be a bit daft. Of course, you have stuff like, a man rolling down the hill in a bath.